Hi everyone, welcome to the next segment in the chapter on elasticity, chapter 4. This time we're going to talk about income elasticity. And I want to start by giving you my 30-second switch from normal price elasticity. So here's normal price elasticity, right? Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So this is the actual formula we use to calculate it. And you notice this is the formula for price elasticity. So this is where I take 30 seconds and change it into income elasticity. So I switch that one out, I switch this one out, I switch this one out, this one out. Yeah, it's a little tricky some days. And this one, get my pencil, and what I'm going to put in is Y. That's the symbol for income. So income elasticity, well, that's the change in quantity demanded, the percentage change in quantity demanded due to a percentage change in income. So that's it. That's my income elasticity formula. And you have to remember that elasticity means responsiveness of something. And here it's responsiveness of quantity demanded to changes in income, not prices. So keep that in mind. And of course, it wouldn't be fair just to do it this way. We're going to hit the slides and just clarify it. Okay, so here's the formal formulas. This top one, income elasticity, notice E sub Y. Percentage change in quantity demanded, that's very familiar to us, divided by the percentage change in income, because we look at income changes to see how quantity demanded responds to it. And of course, down here, they go change in quantity over average quantity, change in income over average income, both times 100. And we know that we cancel these out if we're doing it all at once. And over here is probably the most practical formula. This is one you'll find in the formula sheet as well. And it's the one that I just did on the previous page. It's the nuts and bolts if you want to go from the basics and put everything in. Okay, so that's the formula. It's really important to remember to get the sign correct, the plus or minus correct. So when you calculate these, you have to be very, very careful that you do them in order. We pick that row 2 and row 1, and we'll look at that when we go a little bit later and calculate an example. But picking a row 2 for quantity demanded and income and picking a row 1 for quantity demanded and income will make sure that when we subtract using that formula that we get the correct sign. So here the sign splits here. Everything above this income elasticity is greater than 1. Everything below it, it's greater than 0. Everything below it, it's less than 0. So if it's less than 0, we've talked about this a little bit, it's an inferior good. So if we increase our income, we buy less of this product. So it's negative income elasticity, and it's inferior good. It's like when we finish SATE and we get out, we get good paying jobs, we'll probably buy less Kraft dinner and less hot dogs to eat, classifying those as inferior goods. But then if it's positive, then we call them normal goods. If income elasticity is positive, so keep in mind, you got to get the sign correct. You get half the marks for that. So if income is positive, then we say, well, is it between 0 and 1? Then we call it a necessity. It's income inelastic. It's between 0 and 1. It's still positive. But if it's greater than 1, we call it a luxury good. So it's income elastic. We're going to look at some examples, but really when it's greater than 1, it means that when you get a percentage change in income, you'll actually spend more than that percentage change in income on a luxury good. And it's because all of your other needs have been met and you've got this extra cash and you got a raise, so you're feeling plush and you just kind of get out there and spend on luxury goods. So remember those definitions. Let's go on and take a look at some examples of income elasticities. So forget for a second about this lowest percentile income and highest percentile income. Okay, we're kind of basically talking about poor people and rich people, if I can use those terms. And these are income inelastic. So you'll notice that they're between 0 and 1 would be the elasticity, between 0 and 1. So they're positive, which means if I get more income, I'll buy more food, shelter, healthcare, tobacco, alcohol, natural gas at my house and electricity. All those things are positive income inelastic because they're necessities. I get a jump in income, I might eat a little bit more food, but not a lot more food. I get a jump in income, I might fix my house up a little bit, but I doubt I'm going to buy a whole new massive one, right? So income inelastic. Income elastic, those things aren't necessities anymore. So when you get a percentage change in income, your purchase of, say, transportation, recreation, insurance, and pension contributions, those go up proportionately higher than your income change. And it's because all your other needs are met and you can afford to dip into your savings, add it to your income change, and spend percentage-wise more on these products than your percentage increase in income. So, for example, recreation is good. Not too many people have expensive club recreation memberships, like the Winter Club. A bunch of my friends are there up in the Northwest Calgary. So you only purchase those kind of expensive luxury things like a high-end recreation club membership when everything else is satisfied, when your necessities are pretty satisfied. So a percentage increase in income, you may end up spending it on recreation, and those are luxury or income elastic. So I'll just write luxury here because that was how we set it up on the previous page. Luxury, and these are necessities. Luxury and necessity. Okay, so that's how we're gonna split these apart, or indeed how we do split them apart. Let's look at calculating one of these things. Here's an example. You're giving the following data. Assume the prices of X and Y do not change. Ask yourself why we have to make that assumption. The prices of X and Y do not change because we want to zero in and focus on what happens when income changes. So if price is changing as well, it'll really mess up our results. So it's that ceteris paribus thing. All other things equal, prices stay the same. So now we're just looking at calculating how does the quantity demanded of these products change when the income level changes. So let's look. It says calculate the income elasticity for products X and Y. Well, here's product X. Let's do that first. Now it's very, very important to say this is income one level, and this is quantity of X demanded 1. This is income the second level, and this is quantity demanded of X 2. That's critical, otherwise you'll get the wrong sign. So when we calculate income elasticity for the first one, I'll just let it pop up. We take QD2, which is right there, you see it, it's 350 minus QD1, 200. 350 minus 200 divided by 275, which is the average quantity. But then you have to go Y2 minus Y1, and I'm emphasizing that on purpose. 1500 minus 10,000, so you're doing the 2 minus 1. 1500 minus 10,000 divided by the average is 12,500 times 100. Those would cancel in yours. You don't need to have them as long as you're doing it all at once. And we get an income elasticity of 1.36. So is that a necessity or a luxury? It's a luxury because the income elasticity is positive, so it's a normal good, but it's greater than 1. So it's a luxury good. It'd be like those recreation memberships or Mercedes-Benzes, things like that. So let's calculate the income elasticity of the second one. So well, again, we have to make sure we know this is QD1 for the second one, QD2 for the second one, for Y I mean. And we just go QD2 minus QD1 over the average, Y2 minus Y1 over the average, and let's see what they get for that one. They calculated it out and we get 0.19. So the first thing you say is that inferior good or normal good. And since it's positive, because we did this correctly, we put row 2 and row 1 correctly, then we know it's a normal good, it's positive. But it's less than 1, so this is a necessity. It's not a luxury good, it's a necessity. So that's how we calculate them. Make sure you understand if it's positive or negative what it means. And if it's positive, is it between 0 and 1 or greater than 1? And be able to say that's necessity or luxury, and then have a pretty good idea what the example is. So we're going to clear this. That's it for this little segment. The very last segment we do on this chapter on elasticity is cross elasticity of demand. So we'll see you when we get there.